Mark, thanks. It's been a little over a week since Washington County, Tennessee students have made their return to the classroom. Superintendent Jerry Boyd is with me today to talk a little bit more about how the start of the school year is going. Thanks for joining us for First at 4.
Sure, thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. Well, we know that this year there are some changes at Washington County schools, and one of them is that all elementary schools are on the same start time and end time. So how is that going, and what have you heard from principals and parents about it?
You know, from the day one, the last Monday till now, we've seen improvement every day. There's still some things that we have to work out. You know, the main challenge is the gray area. We're working out the congestion issues there.
Okay.
And as people get into the routines, it's naturally adjusted. So every day has gotten better. You know, the 5 schools that we added to an 8 o'clock start time, all our other schools, except for the high schools, were on that start time. And, you know, we're still working through the process, but as I said, improvements every day.
And speaking of some other changes, there are also some changes to the bus routes as well. We know that kindergartners through seniors are on certain buses. How is that going with them riding together?
Well, you know, we had buses already in our fleet that had K through 12 students on them. So, you know, we certainly knew how to manage. Our bus drivers certainly know how to manage the buses. But overall, it's going well. I mean, you know, kids are very adaptive and resilient. Mm-hmm. And then as long as they know what's expected of them, most of our students certainly live up to that each day. But it's gone well. I mean, there's always going to be problems, but there are problems that we've dealt with, you know, even in the past, regardless of what the structure was.
And this year, a big topic that we're hearing from parents is about cell phones in the classroom. We know that, you know, right now there are a lot of different rules and regulations coming out, but is this a policy that Washington County has in place, and what are you guys doing there about that?
You know, actually in the Washington County Board policy, there was already a statement about cell phones being put away. Our high school principals began last year trying to, you know, focus and curtail that cell phone availability and use during instructional time. So we've kept on that course, and in our middle schools they're supposed to be put away all day, and elementary schools, of course. So we're just basically continuing and improving upon what we've already had in place, and to improve the focus on that instructional time. There's a lot of distractions, and it's not just a conversation in this area or even in Tennessee. Nationally, cell phones have been, you know, there's been a lot of conversations about how detrimental they might be to the instructional process.
Yes, and so another big thing this year that we're hearing is in Tennessee, arming teachers is now a state law. Have any teachers expressed any interest to you? And if so, do you have a plan in place? Are you going to recommend anything to the board this year?
Well, you know, the way the law is written, it certainly there are things that individuals have to meet criteria before they even can be considered to be authorized. And I haven't had any conversation with any of our staff about that, you know, anybody interested directly. But we'll follow the law, and the law requires the school principal of the school, myself, and the sheriff to agree. And if any one of us do not agree, then that person will not be authorized.
And do you have any plans to talk to the school board about that this year, or have any conversations with them about it?
Well, the board, you know, of course, has already had public conversations around it. Each board member was able to express their views. You know, in general, we all agree that, you know, ideally, and what we prefer is a law enforcement officer on, you know, active duty, very well trained law enforcement officer be the person on the campus, or people on the campus, carrying firearms. So that's our preference, and we'll continue to work with the sheriff, who, you know, we have great relationships as far as support and agreement on what needs to be done in our schools to continue to make them safe for everyone.
All right, well, Dr. Boyd, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us during the busy start of the year on First at 4. All right.